Hi, guys. Welcome to another story time. Guess where I am? That's right. Exactly. So, hello, everybody, and welcome to story time part something of some story of part one to part one. I am Shannon right now, for right now, just now. And I'm here to tell you some interesting wild fun stories that maybe are interesting or not. You blinked. So, welcome back to a wonderful world of something magical happened or maybe nothing at all. Welcome back to Starving Artist Diaries, part something of part one, probably of part one. Here is the time that I was in Guatemala busking around pianos, having some time to myself, going to different hotels, and eventually getting something out of it that I didn't expect along the way. Let's get started. At this moment in time, I'm about, let's say, 26, 27, probably my mid 20s, and I am a girl's not so much girl. Wearing the basic atmospheric clothes to just fit into society. Not really beautiful enough to be considered elitist, but just enough to look like I am something. You know what I mean. I am walking around town, finding my way around this city. Mind you, I am just a tourist, but I don't really have tourist vibes. I'm trying to be a local, but I am definitely not tan enough to consider myself Guatemalan. And And I am, wow, that was a loud and, that was a megaphone and level. And I am not really trying to zhuzh it up a little bit. I'm just walking through life. And let me tell you, Guatemala is not that scary. It is not that dangerous at all, even a little bit. It is not that bad at all. Not even a little bit at all. No. The only difference is that Guatemalan is a little less structured and a little less constructed and formulaically pretty privileged. A little bit more gentrified, a little bit more commercialized, a little bit more builded. Or how would you say? I would say a little bit more, mm, just, like I would say a little bit more built and commercialized. Guatemala is so beautiful and luscious and green and jungleized. People focus more on just holistic nature, greetings, loveliness, welcoming, and hospitality. That is where the focus is. And if you want to go to any touristic events or you want to go to any touristic buildings or locations or spaces, I would highly recommend taking a route to Antigua. It is wonderfully, wonderfully luxurious, but there is this homey vibe about it. Now back to the story. I'm walking around this Guatemala city, and in that moment, I started to get a little bit antsy, and I found a little bit of myself wanting to experience more. I wanted to involve myself in the city, but I didn't quite know how to. So I started walking around in lobbies and sitting around because I wanted to be part of the culture. I wanted to be part of something a little bit more expensive. But trust me, I was living on bread money, rice and beans money as the starving artist that I am. And let me tell you, I did not have the money to spend money on a buffet, even in Guatemala, which is the funniest thing of all. Doesn't matter where you go, you can always still be the same person. Doesn't matter where you go, you will always be there. Crying. So I'm like, okay, world universe, I just want to rest, but I also want to be somewhere a little bit zhuzhy and fancy. Ooh. And so I found the hack, the little hack that I never ever came aware of, which is just sitting in hotel lobbies pretending you're more expensive than you are, wearing up that perfume that you got from a department store that you can't afford and looking expensive. Yo. Hey. I all of a sudden became a frat boy. Hey, Walmart perfume. And so as I'm like hunking up that Miniso Asian department store perfume, crossing my legs with my little cute Athletica bag that I got from some under secondhand department store, I'm sitting there and I saw a piano and I started playing that girl like no other. But sometimes I would get looks and stares, and security guards would be like, "You can't play here." And I was like, "Yes, I can." They're like, "No, you can't." I was like, "Yes, I can." So I started to learn the protocol. I started to learn that you can't just walk up and sit down at a hotel piano. There's protocol, there is rules, there's regulations, there's security guards. There's all sorts of things that prevent you from just being able to sit down. It's like the rotten bad apple syndrome, which is the consequence of this rule being in place. One bad apple creates consequences for all of us. So darn you, you piano bangers who ruined it for all of us. So back to the story. So learning about how to integrate with the security guards, the hotel managers, and just general people, I learned that I could simply not just sit down and play. So eventually I started to primp myself up a little bit more, wear a little bit more perfume, look a little bit more together. And I would go and ask the hotel managers at Hilton's and Intercontinentals, Westins, and Doubletrees. Yes, my dear, they have them at Guatemala. Guatemala is not out of the league. They are definitely in it. Point blank, period, snap back. So Guatemala hotels managers and events managers are, in my opinion, just at a different, like they at a level above and simply wonderful and superior in some ways. They are truly generous and kind and not quick to brush you off or pass you up. It's a Guatemalan hospitality. I'm like stuttering to find the words because I don't know the definition of it. But there's some type of hospitality and ambiance and quite simply more of a warm, welcoming environment that Guatemalans create. They are simply more wonderfully welcoming. So I walked up to Guatemalan hosts and events managers and I would usually say, "Hey, can I play the piano in my broken white girl Spanish?" And they'd be like, "Sorry, we can't help you," or "Yes, you can. We would love to hear you play." And eventually over time, I started to gain my respect, my reputation, and my seat at the table or the piano bench. Over time, I started to play at a couple different hotels. I would play a couple songs. I would come by, go to the cafe, and then go back to the piano bar. Some people would recognize me. They would say, "I saw you here yesterday. Are you playing again? Do you work here?" And I would say, "Yes, I do." Or I would make up some just offhand story, and it was believable enough that people would buy it. Eventually, I started to find my piano. Mine. I was like some little fish in the sea, and I grabbed on it, and I held onto it dear life between my teeth. It was the Westin Hotel. And let me tell you, when I walked in, that was the creme de la creme. The Westin Inn was the grandest of all hotels, the most luxurious looking, the most opulent, and the most, well, quite exquisite. As you walked in, the piano was right there in the lobby, and it was impossible to not be seen. That was my piano. So I walked up to the host and I said, "Can I play?" And there was a little hesitance, but they let me play. And before I knew it, I became friends with one of the receptionists. She was this gorgeous blonde Guatemalan girl. I mean, just model Vogue, ridiculously insane, beautiful. Before I knew it, I thought I would love to be her friend because she is just a wonderful person. And also, I want to gain a friend for loyalty purposes and advantage. Not only it felt like two birds in one stone situation where she was going to be a person that I could use as a resource, but also a person who was just an insanely wonderful person that I looked up to. To me, it seemed like the right fit. So I would gain her friendship, her support. I would learn her favorite songs, and usually by the end of the day, play a couple hours and leave. I learned her favorite songs, and what used to be only people being able to play one or two songs, I was able to play for hours on end. Learning the ambiance, the people, and the place, I was able to play nonstop day after day. I had to learn, though, when her schedule was and when she came back, so I knew exactly when to be safe. Before I knew it, I gained more and more support. People would come up and take pictures with me. They would come and say hello to me. Mind you, let me say, I never experienced this before. Before this moment, I had never really had much exposure or confidence in my playing. I played maybe a couple open mics in Lake Atitlan in a small artist vagabond hippie community. I had performed small choirs, openings, or maybe just a little shop for a theater performance. Maybe even a play in California. Other than that, I had no experience with playing on a stage as grand as the Westin Inn Theater Lobby Piano Bar. And before I knew it, I was just enveloped in the commercialized glorification of being a performer, where you're standing around, you're performing for people, you're feeling the ambience, and you are playing to the people. And I didn't do it for the money. Well, kind of. I did it on TikTok, and I made some cash from that. But that was not my purpose. My purpose was to put myself out there, to play for the people and have a memory that was stamped in my brain that I could perform for the people and I could be perceived as such. And in turn, I could perform for them and feel that together we were making a moment that we'll never forget. That was my purpose. And god damn, I felt that my purpose was being I was living it. And through that moment, it just got better. One day, as I was walking around in my beautiful satin silk dress that I manifested on the park bench one day, I'm not even joking. One day I was walking across the park in Guatemala City, and I was saying to myself, you know what would be really nice right now? I don't have enough money for even a dress. I don't have money for a shawl or makeup or anything. What would be really nice right now is if I had a dress, if I had some silk, if I had something beautiful and nice and lovely, and I could wear that to my piano performance. I kid you not, the next day. While I'm walking through the park, there is a bag of silk dresses, beautiful silk dresses in the middle of a park. Is that God working against me or for me? Question mark. So I grabbed a couple silk dresses, taking only what I needed and putting them in my backpack. Being those are the silk dresses that I'm going to wear to my piano performances. I would go to the mirror, I would look in the golden chandeliers and see myself in my silk dress. I would get myself ready and I would sit down and I would play. I would play romantic Victorian era Moonlight Sonata-esque type of ambiance and cut. And Ludovico Ayonadi was one of the inspirations and one of the blonde beauty Guatemalan girls favorite artists, and I learned her favorite songs, and I would play it for her and back to her just so I could earn her devotion and loyalty and friendship. It was something to behold. It was magical and true to the heart of me and everything that I believed in. It was truly wonderful. And through days turned into weeks and weeks. Before I knew it, I grew my quiet, small little artist confidence girl. I grew that quiet artist confidence girl into a bigger, louder, more confident girl. And I started playing bigger and bolder songs. And one day I was wearing my silk dress and I was holding my wine glass with no wine, just peach strawberry infused water. Because, girl, we gotta look classy wherever we are, even if it's peach infused water. I took my little water wine glass to my piano. I sat down to play for another hour. Before I knew it, a man walked by who I never met, who I never saw, who never really saw me, and through a quick moment, stuffed a $5 bill in my wine glass. I looked at him in shock. I wanted to immediately eat him alive, scream and shout his name, and just be like a banshee monkey on top of the piano and swing myself over and climb his but you know what, like I wanted to climb, I wanted to piggyback right on him, something like that. Sounded ridiculous. I wanted to be his friend, and so I looked at her and was like, oh my god, thank you. And he looked at me, he's like, you played so well, muchas gracias, that's amazing. And I was like, thank you, I love you. And then he laughed and he smiled and waved. And I was like, that's the best $5 bills I've ever made in my life. And I just remember feeling so excited and grateful and beyond ecstasy, like the emotion after ecstasy, when you're like dead and alive in joy, and you're dead at the same time. You're like ecstasy, deading, living. And I never felt so good making $5. And after that, I just felt like this is the best $5 I've ever made in my life. And so that's the story for the day. My starving artist journey of being a quiet little performance girl who never thought I could do it with music and make anything from money from music. And here I am now. It doesn't matter how I got here, but I got there and I did it. That's all. Love you eternally. Love you.